What if the app that promises to help you find love is actually keeping you single? Behind every swipe, there's an algorithm designed to keep you scrolling, affecting how you see yourself, how you date, and even what love means. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on dating apps and exploring the hidden ways they manipulate us, and why more and more people are ditching them for real-life connections. If you've ever felt frustrated with online dating, you need to hear this. What do you know about the mechanics of how dating apps keep you hooked? Dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge use the swipe feature to tap into our brain's desire for novelty and instant gratification, much like social media feeds. This simple, addictive mechanic keeps users engaged, encouraging quick decisions based on appearance and superficial information, and providing instant feedback through matches or rejections. The infinite swipe contributes to an endless search for the perfect match, mirroring the slot machine effect, where unpredictable rewards keep users hooked. As a result, the process of finding a partner becomes gamified, prioritizing surface-level attraction over thoughtful decision-making. The psychology of intermittent rewards used by dating apps is similar to gambling mechanics, where unpredictable outcomes keep users hooked. The random nature of getting a match activates the brain's dopamine system, creating an addictive cycle where users continuously return for the chance of a win. This unpredictability encourages users to keep swiping, even after making matches, in search of a better option, which creates dissatisfaction. Ultimately, this causes an endless cycle of casual interactions rather than more meaningful connections. Dating apps use features like limited daily likes, boosts, and paid upgrades to create a sense of scarcity, pushing users toward purchasing premium services to increase their chances of finding a match. These apps make users feel that they need to pay for better opportunities. However, these paid features do little to improve the chances of forming meaningful connections, as they primarily focus on increasing visibility rather than changing the superficial nature of the app's interactions. Dating apps are designed to keep users engaged rather than helping them find lasting love. The longer users stay on the app, the more ads they see, the more purchases they make, and the more data the platform collects. This creates a paradox. While the apps promise to help people find meaningful relationships, their success depends on keeping users single and active. Some apps have even been criticized for initially showing attractive profiles to new users, only to decrease match quality over time, encouraging more swiping or premium upgrades. Make no mistake, these apps don't want you to leave them, no matter how much they try to convince you otherwise with their marketing. But companies not giving a shit about anything other than profit isn't really new in the capitalistic hellscape we live in. The most important question to ask is, what effects does dating app corporate greed actually have on our minds and society? Let's first talk about the impact on self-esteem. The sheer number of potential matches on dating apps creates an environment where rejection is inevitable and frequent. This is particularly true in heterosexual dynamics, where studies show that average men tend to receive far fewer matches than their female counterparts. Men often have to swipe far more frequently to receive responses, while women, on the other hand, may be inundated with options. This imbalance can lead to frustration, feelings of inadequacy, and a sense that the process is fundamentally unfair. The experience of ghosting is another blow to users' confidence, leaving them questioning what went wrong and internalizing feelings of worthlessness. The sheer volume of choices on dating apps also contributes to decision fatigue. With so many options, it's easy for users to feel disposable, knowing that if they don't immediately capture someone's attention, there are countless other profiles for them to swipe through. This mentality dehumanizes the entire experience, turning dating into a numbers game, making the whole experience more transactional. Dating apps often reduce people to a collection of curated images and a brief bio, encouraging users to make snap judgments based solely on appearance. This superficial process can lead to a sense of dehumanization, where users feel they are nothing more than a commodity to be swiped left or right on. The constant swiping feeds into the need for validation, with every like or match providing a temporary boost in self-worth. However, this validation is fleeting, leading users to crave more likes and matches, creating a cycle of dependence on external approval. The psychological toll of this process can be immense, as users internalize the idea that their value is tied to how many swipes they receive. For those who don't get many matches, particularly average men who statistically receive far fewer swipes than average women, this reduction to swipes can further erode self-esteem. When a user feels like they are constantly being judged and discarded, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy and a belief that they aren't good enough for the platform or even for real-life relationships. Several studies have highlighted the link between dating apps and rising levels of anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction, particularly among younger users. A 2020 study published in the journal Body Image found that individuals who frequently use dating apps were more likely to experience body dissatisfaction and a negative self-image. This dissatisfaction often stems from the constant comparison to others and the pressure to present a flawless version of oneself. Additionally, research from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships has shown that users who spend more time on dating apps report higher levels of loneliness and social anxiety, likely due to the impersonal nature of swiping and the frequent rejection users face. For straight men, the statistics are particularly disheartening, as average men tend to receive far fewer matches compared to average women. One study conducted by OkCupid found that while men swipe right more frequently than women, they are far less likely to receive a response. This disparity leads to a phenomenon known as male swipe fatigue, where men experience frustration and burnout from repeated rejection or lack of engagement. These statistics paint a grim picture of the mental health impact that dating apps can have on users, particularly those who struggle to navigate the competitive and superficial nature of the platforms. In same-sex dynamics, these apps often become one of the primary ways to connect with potential partners due to the limited availability of queer spaces in many areas. However, this dependence on apps can exacerbate the effects of rejection and ghosting. When LGBTQ+ individuals experience rejection or are ghosted repeatedly, the effects can be even more pronounced, as these interactions often take place within a smaller dating pool. The concept of social media fatigue applies directly to dating apps, as users often experience emotional burnout from the repetitive, high-stakes nature of app interactions. Over time, users may feel overwhelmed by the endless swiping, conversations that go nowhere, or the need to maintain a perfect online presence. This leads to what is known as swipe fatigue, a sense of emotional exhaustion and apathy toward the app itself. Users report feeling drained by the superficiality of the interactions and the constant pressure to be on. Psychological theories like attachment styles also offer insights into how users interact on dating apps and how these platforms affect relationship dynamics. For instance, individuals with anxious attachment styles may become overly invested in potential matches, experiencing heightened anxiety when their messages are not immediately returned or when they face rejection. On the other hand, those with avoidant attachment styles may find the casual, low-commitment nature of dating apps appealing, as it allows them to maintain emotional distance. However, dating apps can exacerbate both types, as the platforms often provide little space for secure, deep connections, reinforcing negative attachment patterns and contributing to unhealthy relationship dynamics. In addition to the impacts we already discussed, the gamification of romance through dating apps is developing impatience and lower commitment levels on people, which are becoming conditioned to expect quick rewards. This dynamic discourages the development of long-term, patient interactions that are essential for emotional bonding. Instead, users may grow increasingly dismissive of matches that don't offer immediate satisfaction, opting to move on quickly in search of more exciting prospects. As a result, relationships become less about building and sustaining commitment and more about constant novelty, making it harder for users to sustain meaningful, long-term partnerships. Dating apps have also led to a decline in organic meetings, where couples once met in social settings like bars, parties, or through mutual friends. Instead, algorithm-driven matches now dominate the dating landscape, with apps prioritizing immediate attraction over deeper compatibility. These algorithms typically rank users based on attractiveness or engagement metrics, focusing on surface-level characteristics rather than long-term compatibility factors. While this method can lead to quick matches, it often overlooks the nuance and complexity involved in human connection, reinforcing a superficial approach to dating. As a result, spontaneous, in-person connections are being replaced by curated digital interactions. From a philosophical standpoint, dating apps fundamentally alter our understanding of love by shifting it from an organic, emotional experience to a structured, goal-oriented process. Traditionally, love has been viewed as something that develops naturally over time through shared experiences and emotional vulnerability. Dating apps, however, encourage a more utilitarian view, where love is something to be found, measured, and achieved through algorithms and swiping. This transactional approach can diminish the mystery and depth often associated with falling in love, replacing it with an efficiency-driven mindset focused on optimizing matches rather than developing emotional intimacy. Dating apps reshape love into something more mechanical and predictable. Dating apps can be seen as reducing relationships to consumer choices, much like selecting a product in a marketplace. Philosophically, this commodification of love mirrors the capitalist notion of choice and competition, where individuals are products, vying for attention based on curated profiles and aesthetics. This mentality encourages users to think of potential partners not as complex, multifaceted individuals, but as options to be compared, selected, and discarded based on a narrow set of criteria. The endless swiping mirrors consumer habits, always searching for the next best thing, never fully satisfied. This reduction of relationships to consumer behavior erodes the emotional and ethical dimensions of love. From an existential perspective, dating apps pose significant challenges to the search for meaning in love and human connection. Philosophers like Sartre and Kierkegaard emphasized the importance of personal responsibility and authenticity in human relationships. Dating apps, however, often encourage superficial connections, as users may find themselves caught in a cycle of shallow interactions that lack real substance or fulfillment. The existential search for meaning in love, a connection that affirms one's sense of self and purpose, can be damaged by the impersonal nature of dating apps. In recent years, there has been a noticeable trend of people deleting their dating apps in favor of more traditional, analog methods of meeting partners. Many users have grown frustrated with the superficiality, emotional fatigue, and lack of meaningful connections on dating platforms, leading them to seek alternative ways to find love. This shift is also driven by the desire for more authentic, in-person interactions that dating apps can't provide. As a result, a growing number of people are choosing to disconnect from the digital dating world, prioritizing face-to-face encounters where they can build deeper, more genuine relationships without the pressure of swiping or endless messaging. Many people are rediscovering the value of forming connections through common interests and social networks, which often leads to more compatible relationships, whether it's through attending a hobby group, joining a sports team, or participating in a community event. These organic methods allow for natural chemistry to develop over time. This shift reflects a growing awareness that meaningful connections are often built gradually, through shared experiences and mutual understanding, rather than the instant matches and fleeting interactions. In conclusion, dating apps, while promising to connect people, often manipulate users through addictive mechanics like swiping and intermittent rewards, prioritizing user retention and profit over meaningful connections. This leads to emotional burnout, lower self-esteem, and rising levels of anxiety and dissatisfaction as users face constant rejection and comparison. The superficiality of app interactions erodes deeper connections, reducing love to consumer choices and to a transactional short-term mindset in relationships. As people grow increasingly disillusioned with these platforms, many are turning to more traditional, analog ways of meeting partners, seeking genuine face-to-face interactions that build lasting, meaningful relationships. Do you think dating apps are helping us find real love, or are they keeping us trapped in a cycle of superficial connections? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you had any experiences with dating apps, good or bad? Do you prefer meeting people the analog way through real-life interactions? Share your stories in the comments below. And if you're interested in exploring more ways technology is impacting our lives, relationships, and society, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join me for future discussions. See you in the next video.